guys, I want to do this video on the 3 biggest misconceptions on heat pump systems. My name is Josh. I host the HVAC Guide for Homeowners YouTube channel, and we're going to dive right into this right away. Number 1, biggest misconceptions for heat pumps. The first one is that heat pumps only provide heat. As we see heat pumps being introduced into more markets, I have noticed that there are a lot of folks that hear heat pump and they think that they provide heat and heat only. And that is not true. All a heat pump is an air conditioner that can run backwards in the wintertime. It works just like an air conditioning system would. It still has all the same components: evaporator, condensing coil, compressor, metering device, all the things that you would see in an air conditioning system. The only difference is a heat pump has something called a reversing valve that can reverse or change the direction of the refrigerant going through that system, and it makes the air conditioner into a heat pump system. So that's number 1. Number 2, heat pumps do not provide enough heat to be sold in colder states and more northern states. And the reason this is a misconception is because it used to be true that there were states up north that if you installed a heat pump, it was just useless. You should not have done that. When temperatures would get below 40 degrees, you would see heat pumps start to become useless, and those days are over. Companies like Daikin, that's all we sell at Griffin Air. Daikin, I think they're one of the best companies out there. They've got systems that can still provide 100% capacity heating well below freezing temperatures, well below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Some of these systems can still produce just as much heat, 100% capacity of heat. Now, I will say there are homes, if you have an older home, that you've got to decide what that balance point is. If you don't know what balance point is, check out my video that I did on balance point, where I basically talk about how houses are all different. No house is the same as another. If you have your heat pump lockout for a dual fuel system at 20 degrees for one house, you might not be able to get it down to 20 degrees for another house because of the insulation, the R values, or maybe it's just an older home, single pane windows. Whatever the reason is, you might actually have to set that temperature a little higher before it switches over to gas or oil heat. But again, with the way technology has come along, we've seen companies like Daikin be able to offer heat pump systems that can provide heating in tons of markets that they've never been able to offer them before. We see in some areas where they are even installing heat pump systems without even any kind of electric backup or gas backup. The heat pump can do well enough that they simply just don't need it. And then finally, the third misconception that we hear on heat pumps, and that is because they run more of the year, that they don't last as long. Now, I think that you might be able to make a small argument for that. You might say, well, Josh, this system over here is straight AC. It only runs 4 or 5 months out of the year, and then the rest of the months it's sitting there not getting as much mileage. But in my experience across the board, even if that's true a little bit, it's very insignificant. As long as they're taken care of, I've seen heat pump systems last decades. And so if you see this video and you say, well, Josh, my last heat pump only lasted 11 years and I had to have it replaced for this reason or that reason, I have seen straight AC systems the same way. That even though they weren't being run in the wintertime, they still last 10 to 15 years just like a heat pump system would. Especially if they're not being taken care of, they just simply don't last as long. So anyway, that's my big 3 on misconceptions for heat pumps. Are you in the market for a heat pump system? Please let us know down below in the comments. I'd love to hear about that. I love when you guys reach out and let us know kind of what you're going through. I don't always get to respond to all of the comments, but I read most of them, and a lot of the comments are quite interesting, especially when we hear what some of you folks are up against. And sometimes I'll even do a video based on some of the comments that we are getting. So anyway, hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.